Weird. All right. So something weird happened at the start of that stream. So I don't know if it sent out alerts to everybody, all our subscribers. I'm hoping it did, but I honestly think it might not have. So I put this on waltons.com/live. Hopefully that gets it out to everybody. We're making something that I like to call junk rice. This is something I've done for years now. And basically, I take whatever's in my freezer or my fridge that's mostly already cooked or just about to go bad, and I make fried rice out of it. I've got a ceramic griddle. This is one's from Pit Boss. At Walton's, we're gonna have one very soon. That is a Camp Chef cast iron one. But this is the Pit Boss version. It's a great little griddle, easy to move around. And in here, I've got some uncooked jalapeno ghost pepper cheese bratwurst. Then I've got some bacon that we made out of rib roll and some ham that was the Oklahoma champion. So that is some of the best ham that you're ever going to have. Just realized that my laptop that I have over there was playing so I could hear myself back through it. And we're going to make that all into delicious fried rice on my griddle. Now, first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cook this completely uncooked bratwurst. So I've got 4 different burners here, and I've got them set to different levels of heat. We're going to move things throughout the cooking process. So we're going to throw all of our delicious jalapeno brats with just a little bit of ghost pepper cheese in there. We're going to let that start cooking up. Ceramics are a little bit different than cast iron. They don't have the same seasoning process. They don't keep the same seasoning. So we have to be really, really careful to let things cook well before we start moving things around. My dog is being an enormous pain in the butt today. You're probably going to hear him scratching at the glass trying to get out here because he smells bratwurst, he smells ham, and he smells bacon. Those are all things that he likes quite a bit. But hopefully you can see this fairly well. We're just going to cook up this sausage as quickly as we can. Once we have that cooked, everybody likes to make their fried rice on griddles or however they like to make it differently. What I like to do is I go with any uncooked meats, then I'm going to go my veggies, then I'm going to go my rice, then I'm going to throw on any pre-cooked meats. I'm going to mix all that together. I'm going to start adding a little bit of soy sauce. Then I will add my, what other uncooked veggies do I have? I have some shallots or green onions. They're going to go on at the very, very end. Then we're going to throw some egg on. Some people like to throw egg on first. Some people like to throw it on last. I tend to find that if you throw your egg in too early into your any type of fried rice, it's going to be overcooked, dry, not anywhere near as good. But yeah, no, it is gorgeous here today. That was, who was that? Allie? Oh, yeah, Allie, you're here. You know how pretty it is. Remy asked if I had any crawfish. I have crayfish in that pond, and they eat the crap out of this bank. It absolutely drives me nuts. Let me see if I can spin things a little bit. So that is my pond where I have pulled numerous, not just one, not two, but at least 3 or maybe even 4 6-pound plus bass out of. It's only about a 3.5, 4 acre pond, but what's in there is big. I love that pond. So we're cooking fried rice, or as I call it, junk rice here. Now this has a little bit of high temp cheese in it. High temp cheese on the griddle, not always the best mix. It tends to get a little stuck to the griddle, so it's going to make our cleanup a little bit harder. But that ghost pepper cheese is going to give us a really nice heat to this, which will be delicious. And honestly, cleaning a ceramic griddle is difficult, but really not that hard. Remzi, I guess I didn't mean to call you Randy, but I will. Just Cal, guys. Nice to see you again. We were all just hanging out yesterday. So, and as always, not sponsored by Miller Lite, but should be sponsored by Miller Lite. We have our Walton's 12-inch thermometer, but we're not going to use it for this. I chunked all that up into little bitty bits, and it will 100% be perfectly cooked by the time I move it over. So I'm going to slide everything over. We're going to take things from left to right here. Our left side of the griddle is much, much hotter than our right side. Our right side is basically a warming section. We're going to throw in, I've got some onion that I diced up here. I also have a little bit of garlic. Now I know I've been talking about this for a while. I'm not huge anymore with cooking garlic and onion on the same dish. That comes from a couple of Italian cookbooks I was reading, and all of them, well, not all of them, but quite a few of them pointed out that you should not use onion and garlic in the same dish. But this is fried rice, so the Italians can shut up about that. We want to get a really nice char, caramelized, whatever you want to say it, on these onions. We want them nice and starting to look dark before we move them over. The reason for that is there's a lot of starch in onions. That starch is the sugar. That sugar will caramelize up really, really well. And to get that onion to release its full flavor, we need to have a nice caramelization on it. It's reverse. Oh, for you guys it's reverse? No, it's not. Left to right. Or maybe you guys are seeing it different than I am. I'm watching it in my phone. I think it's the same thing. But either way, I have one side hot and one side not quite warm, but almost down to the bottom. Not quite down to the bottom, but almost there. Once we get all this rice on there, you guys are going to see how not great with spatulas I am. There's going to be more cleanup from this than there is cooking, I'm sure. Everybody who's a Meatgistics fan or a Walton's fan who's watching any of my content knows that I'm, fairly clumsy. And that carries over to this very, very well. So those have been cooking for just a little bit there. I'm going to throw some peas in there. I'm not a fan of peas at all. I don't like vegetables, and I especially don't like peas. However, they are essential for fried rice. I've tried making fried rice a bunch of times without peas, and it just doesn't work. There is something about them that makes fried rice so much better. So we are going to include them. Make sure that we get a good pea taste, flavor, whatever it is that they do. Those are frozen peas. They're going to cook incredibly fast on this hot griddle. And for anyone just joining us, this is the Pit Boss. It's not something that we sell anymore, but it's a ceramic griddle. A little bit different than your average cast iron griddle. But we're starting to get a nice color on those onions. They're clear with a little bit of brown. Anytime we're talking about a griddle, we obviously have to wonder about how well we've cleaned it. I spent about 45 minutes on this earlier today, cleaning it up perfectly. So any color we see here is going to be either from something that we just cooked or color from the food that we're cooking right now. I don't know. I already talked about how important it is to cook the onions to almost a char. We want them brown-ish. And the sun is right in my eyes, so it's a little bit difficult to read these comments. But it smells amazing here. The raccoons come up to the house and drive the dog crazy. I'm assuming you're talking to Allie with that one. No raccoons come up to my house. I had a 90-pound pit bull who is a terror on every small animal, and I now still have a 200-pound mastiff who no other animals come close. I saw deer tracks here about 3 or 4 days ago, and I was shocked that it dared to come that close to the house. All right, so we're gonna start moving our vegetables over. And again, in this, I don't like carrots. I like raw carrots. I do not like cooked carrots. They are disgusting, and I don't think it's actually a food. I think it's more of a punishment. So we've got just peas, we've got onion, and we've got just a little bit of garlic in this. Now, I'm gonna put down this is beef bacon. This is bacon we made out of a rib roll. It's absolutely amazing. The problem is that you're taking a rib roll, which has many other great uses in making bacon out of it. And then this is a ham that we got from the Oklahoma State Convention. And it is absolutely, without a doubt, some of the best ham I've ever had in my entire life. So we're going to throw that all in there. We're just going to let it start cooking for just a few minutes, not long. And then here, if Allie is still in the chat, she will recognize this pepperoni. This is some pepperoni that Allie and I had made. This is not your like traditional Italian style pepperoni. This is pepperoni that's almost more like summer sausage, but it's absolutely delicious. And we were starting to get to the end of its life in my fridge, so we're throwing it in there as well. What I'm basically doing here is taking things out of my fridge that have already been cooked and are about to go quote unquote bad, or things that have just been in my freezer too long and I haven't done anything with. And I don't have any ideas of what I'm going to do with it. And I make a huge meal of what I like to call junk rice. None of it is junk, obviously, but you know, that's the joke a little bit. One of the things that's kind of important with any griddle is a level surface. I hope you can kind of see the type of table it's on. I can level those legs a little bit. So this is a mostly flat surface. It's not perfect. It's a little bit higher in this corner, so things tend to flow down just a little bit, but it's not bad. You definitely don't want to be cooking with one side much, much higher than the other. That's going to create quite a few bit of problems. Allie, you were a big part of making that pepperoni. You should feel proud about that. A couple other things, obviously, once we have things going, we're going to add some soy sauce to the rice. At the very end, or near the very end, we're going to add some sesame seed oil. It adds a great fried rice taste. Yes, it's a seed oil, and I know we're all kind of against them now, but it does have a very, very unique taste to it. Also, we're going to add some Terrapin Ridge Farms spicy pineapple teriyaki. And the reason I'm adding that is because the first time I tried it, the very first thought I had was, how does that taste exactly like fried rice? And it makes an amazing fried rice flavor. So we're adding some of that as well. The rice is actually something that I cooked at lunch today. Everybody wants to have different opinions on should you use rice from the night before? Should you cook it the same day? I think we're looking too deeply into fried rice if we start worrying about that. So either use rice from the day before or use rice that you just cooked. What I will say is cook your rice before you start cooking your eggs. That's my biggest tip on this is we want that rice going, and then we're going to add our fried egg in, and we're going to do it in 2 stages, or 2 different ways. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add part of it to the actual rice. Then we're going to add half of it to just outside the rice. The advantage of using rice that's the same day or at least has been left out for a long time to warm up is to get it to separate. We don't need to use our chopper and chop it up real strong. It will actually start separating on its own. We won't end up with lots of clumps of rice. It will heat up and just start moving away from being in clumps. So we're just going to move this around a little bit. Make sure that that butter is getting introduced to all the rice. And I'm still feeling out whether I like the ceramic griddle or not. I think I do, but I am worried about scratching it. Like with a cast iron, I don't worry about scratching my griddle, but with a ceramic one, I do a little bit. That could just be my own personal hang-ups. Lord knows I have plenty of those. But already, all that rice that we put in there is starting to just separate into individual grains. Another thing you want to be really careful of when making any type of fried rice is don't add too much soy sauce. It's a mistake I've made plenty of times. But soy sauce just needs to be a little complement to it. It does not need to be in the main show. Go away. Sorry, my dog is clawing at the glass door and probably leaving large scratches in it, or I'm sure he's drooling on it like crazy. And again, the green onions or scallions that I have are going to go on right at the end. We've still got the egg we're going to deal with, but we're going to let that rice cook for just a couple of minutes. No, I don't want to let him out, Allie. A, there's a lot of meat on here, and B, he could very, very easily burn his little nose. So, for everybody watching, Allie just basically wished my dog burned his nose. So I said just a little bit of soy sauce, even lighter on the sesame oil. We want to just basically add, maybe a teaspoon to this. This is more fried rice than I would normally make, but we do not want to add a ton of this to that. It can really overpower it very, very quickly. And absolutely same thing with the spicy pineapple teriyaki. With this, I'd actually recommend that the first couple of times you use it, just add it after. You definitely don't want to add it too early. I did that a couple of months ago, maybe even 6 months ago at this point. And that will burn quickly. And once something that sugary burns, it's going to give you a real bitter taste really, really quick. So just be careful with that. I've also got some hickory smoked bacon flavored salt here. We're going to add that in just a little bit. Who doesn't like the flavor of bacon? It's absolutely delicious. And this is one of Excalibur's newer seasonings. I think it's come out in the last year or so, and they really did a good job with that. It's amazing on turkey, and I find it really good on fried rice. All right, so we're going to move our fried rice to the middle. We're going to flatten it out. And then we're going to add about half of our already beaten eggs onto it and half just to the left on the hotter side of the grill. We want this to cook really quick. So we're going to have to be really careful to make sure that we're not burning anything here, but I'm always terrible about getting in the way of the camera. Patrick, our video editor, gets on me about this all the time. So I'm going to add about half right onto the rice, and I'm going to add way more than half to the outside of this. So we're going to take that back. And I'm going to be pretty good about keeping this moving around. Otherwise, there's a chance we're going to burn this. So once we start getting some nice denaturization of this, once it starts clumping up, basically, we'll start folding it in to the rest of the rice. But we want to start seeing some solid-ish pieces like that before we start doing this. Now, it's all going to start going together. Make sure that we get that egg mixed all the way through the rice. And for something like this, 2 spatulas really do make a huge difference. Then we're going to start bringing over our meats and veggies. We want to do most of this right in the middle, because we are still trying to fry this rice a little bit. Alright, now, we're getting towards the end here, but before I add anything else, one thing I like to do is make a big hole in the center and add more butter. And more butter is very, very rarely a bad... That fell. More butter is very, very rarely a bad thing in there. My dog is going to absolutely love me once he gets out here. We're going to let that butter fry up a little bit. And once it's mostly melted, we're going to scoop things back in there. Now I've decided or chose to use salted butter on this. So I'm going to add less seasoning than probably most people would to their fried rice. I've seen lots of people use just salt or just salt and pepper. I'm using the hickory smoked bacon from Excalibur. But we're going to add just a little bit to it, not much at all. Then we're going to add a couple of dashes of soy sauce. And I look at this now, and in my head, could eat all of it, but I haven't, or I won't, because I've made promises that other people will get a chance to try this. Allie being one of them, my girlfriend's parents, another one. So we're going to let that cook down for just 2 minutes or so. Then I'm going to throw some sesame seed oil on it, a little bit of a spicy pineapple teriyaki, and then we're good to go. Yes, I know, Allie. I lied to Allie and Austin and told them that I would bring them some of the strombolis, but those strombolis were so good that it would have been a crime against myself to let other people eat them. So I had to do right by the laws of John. So that's my fault, but Just Cal Guy says my spatula work is great. I appreciate that. It is not. It is not. There are plenty of people out there who have far better skills with a spatula than I do. So, but I guess I'm improving. I appreciate that. And I'm also glad it doesn't seem like the mistake I made at the beginning of the live stream stop notifications from going out, so that's good. A couple other things just in general. We have mostly moved the studio. We are almost completely done. We've got a garbage disposal has to be put in. We might be putting that in ourselves. The dishwasher has to be installed, and our oven needs to be put in. But after that, we're done. Everything is beautifully organized. Allie and I are going to put in the backsplash tomorrow. And then early next week, we're going to start making some of the new Walton seasonings. These are seasonings that we have had made specifically for us. The ones we're going to make early next week that I'm most excited about are peppery au jus jerky, and we're doing that just in our Walton's dehydrator. Cannot wait for that. It's going to be delicious. Then we're going to make the rustic French onion bratwurst, which I love French onion soup, so I'm thrilled about that. And then the Mac Attack bratwurst. So that is a seasoning that also comes with just, actually it's a good amount of pasta. So you actually put pasta into the bratwurst. So we're just going to put a very light amount of, it doesn't matter the brand you get, but just, you want pure sesame seed oil. Then we're going to mix it back up. Let that cook for just a minute or so like that. Then we're going to add that last little bit of our spicy pineapple teriyaki and our green onions or scallions at the very, very end. Don't add these early. They don't handle heat particularly well. They will either, depending on how ripe or done they are, they will either lose all of their flavor, or you will get an odd, like bad onion smell flavor from them. Now I know if we had added carrots to this, we would have a nicer color to it, but I just don't like cooked carrots. And I wasn't going to add them to something I was going to eat a lot of, just so that I could have a better picture. I will try to remember to take a picture of this, Allie, though. So we're adding this. You can hear it as it hits. There's so much sugar in there that it is going to caramelize incredibly quick. For a fairly sloppy cook, which I will very much admit to being, a griddle is a pretty good tool to have. You got all this room to move stuff around. Killing the heat on everything. Throwing my scallions or green onions in. And then we'll bring you guys up close for a finished shot. So this isn't really fried rice. I mean, it is. But like I said, this is what I call junk rice, because this is mostly just things that I had in the fridge and the freezer that I didn't have a plan for before they were going to go bad. And this is an easy way to throw them all together and make an absolutely delicious meal. Looking at it now, kind of wish I had made more rice, because I am wanting to eat all of that and give myself a bad stomach ache by tomorrow. It's going to be absolutely delicious. Appreciate it, guys. Next Monday, Allie and I have hopefully something special planned for you. She and I are both going to be at the Walton studio. We are going to do one of our process streams, and something is coming back into stock that we hope you guys are pretty pumped about. We're very pumped about it. So she and I will be doing a live stream from 7 till whenever. We're going to make something, and then I believe the plan is to cook them as well, which should be phenomenal. We might be using our Camp Chef, so not this Pit Boss, but our new Camp Chef griddle that we should have in our outdoor kitchen area. I can't wait for you guys all to see how cool our new facility is. At some point, we will give you a full walkthrough so you can see all the office areas. The shipping area is unbelievable. I made a joke the other day, and I don't know if it's a joke or not, but I'm not sure I could stand on one end and throw a baseball and hit the other end, even with the roll. Like, that's how far away it looks to me. That will give us the ability to have more items in stock, ability to ship everything out the same day, but also the higher quantity we're able to buy things in, the better price we get. So that's a better price that we can pass on to you guys. We're still going to do same day shipping. We're still going to have our great customer service department. So hopefully you guys are as pumped about all of that as we are. We will see you guys at the latest 7 p.m. on Monday, if not sooner. See you guys.